Hey guys, good morning everybody. Today is Friday, December 1st. It is 6:21 right now. Market's gonna open in about 9 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up this room real quick and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. Just got a couple of things here to update. And we should be good to go. All right, looks good. Let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. Good. All right, looks like we're good to go. I'll get a few moments for people to make their way in. As people join in, I'm going to go ahead and start marking liquidity over here on the daily time frame. So we got that marked up right there. On over to the 4-hour. Down to the 2-hour. Down to the 1-hour. Down to the 30-minute. All right, change that to red. Move this one right here. Going down to the 15-minute. Down to the 10-minute. And it looks like we are good to go. All right. So with that said, we have the closest level of liquidity above over here at 36,011 and the closest level below over here at 35,963. So we've got two levels of liquidity right here. They're both low level liquidities, but they might get hit pre-market. We'll see. We do have news right on market open, so we'll see how that pushes price. But yeah, other than that, there goes liquidity. So we got liquidity right there marked up. Looks like majority of you guys are here so far. So good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, December 1st. It is 6:25 right now. Market's gonna open in about 5 minutes. Let's see who's here so far. Morning, Layla. Morning, Daniel. Morning, Craig. Yeah, no, definitely, Craig. Yeah, I know it's kind of tough when you have to do when you have your regular job on the side. All right, so let's mark up the times over here for the clean chart. 6:30, 8 o'clock. Let's see if there's any structure here that we should mark up on the 4-hour. So you got some structure above. Go down to the 1-hour. And we got some structure down below. All right, so it looks like price is currently in a range right now. I mean, we'll see how this ends up going, but okay, this is going to be the 4-hour resistance level. And this down below is going to be the 1 hour resistance level or 1 hour support level. All right, got everything pretty much marked up here for the most part. So, all right, looks like that's good to go. Price is currently in a range right now. We'll see what happens here on open. I know there's news coming up, so let me check the calendar real quick. We had news, or we're going to have news here at 6:45. So high impact news here at 6:45, news at 7, and that's about it. So we'll try that strategy that I mentioned yesterday, guys. There's going to be a couple of different opportunities here because if price does push up, we're either going to look for a V1 variation or we're going to look for price to break and close past the sessions over here and retracement back in our direction. So we'll see, what happens here. But, we'll just play it by ear. ATR is currently 6 right now, so it's kind of low. We'll see what happens when market opens up in the next 2 minutes here. So a couple entries to look out for on open would probably be the breakout, momentum counter scalp. And then into the session, if the ATR picks up, momentum pullback scalps, then some high-low scalps and high-low scalp V2s. On top of that, we'll look for some breakout continuations and the news movement over here as well off these price candles. So, all right, guys, morning, Maria, morning, Andrew, morning, Andreas, morning, everybody. Today is Friday, December 1st, 6:28 right now. Market's going to open in about 2 minutes. Morning, Jasmine, morning, everybody. All right, guys, so it looks like pretty much everybody's here. Happy Friday, everyone. Today's the first of the month, so just keep that in mind. First of the month is typically going to be a bit risky, plus Friday. Friday because people are exiting the market for the weekend, so you're going to get some random volatility at some point where people are just exiting or putting in their orders. And then also for the first of the month, a lot of new contracts are opening for the options market. So just expect a lot of manipulation to happen today. So hopefully enough volatility for us to take some entries, but hopefully not too much volatility for us to get caught in some, some tricky moves. Jasmine said maybe later we can discuss this FTN with DX trade. Just hoping someone is on FTN and had tried it. I don't even know what that is. Jasmine, DX trade. Has anyone tried the DX trade on FTMO? I don't even know what you're talking about. DX, I'm thinking DX is like DXY, like the dollar index. I've never seen that symbol for DX trade though. So I've never, I don't even know what you're talking about, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know if anybody's heard of it, if you want to have some input on it, feel free to hop into the chat. Yeah, Jasmine's asking about DX trade. I've just never heard of that before. I don't know if that's a symbol or I mean, what it is at all in general. Hey, Martha, good to see you here. All right, guys, market is open now. So we have the opening candle right here at 6:30. I'm going to go and mark up opening price right there. Hey, Barack, morning. All right. So market is now open, guys. If this closes as a strong green candle, if you guys are looking for, oh, gotcha. Never mind. Okay. No, I know what you're talking about. Jasmine. Yeah, DX Trade's a platform. Thanks, Barack, for confirming that. I totally forgot that they released a new platform. I don't think anybody here has used it because they're brand new, but I have no experience using them, so I don't have anything to say about them. For me personally, I wouldn't switch to DX Trade because all my copiers are on MT4, so it just wouldn't make sense for me to do something like that. So for me personally, I wouldn't. I wouldn't make the switch to DX Trade unless like you absolutely need to, or unless you don't have any copiers and you do want to try out a new platform. But yeah, DX Trade is a new platform that Jasmine was asking about, but I have no experience using them. I know they're new. I don't think anybody here has experience using them either because everybody uses MT4 or C-Trader. So All right, so we're looking for some entries here, guys. There's nothing for us to take right now. The ATR is currently at 10 right now, so it's still kind of low. We're looking for any possible breakout entries. We're also looking for news over here as well at 6:45. The problem with news over here, guys, is that you guys have to be very quick because there's news again right after at 7 o'clock. They're both high impact at 6:45, high impact at 7. So the problem with this here is that it's going to be hard to see if price will actually reach your TP if you decide to take, this news event right here. Because we could have a negative news event here, and then we could have a positive news event here, or we can do vice versa, positive and negative and positive. So you don't want them to kind of overlap. So ATR right now is currently at 10. It's still pretty low. And we'll see if we have any movement there on market open. Looking over here at our liquidity chart, looks like the top liquidity got tapped. It's not hit yet, but it did get tapped. We're currently in the middle of the range between the 4-hour resistance and the 1-hour support level. So we will continue to look here for any possible entries. There's no confirmation of trend yet, but if we do get a confirmation of trend, we'll probably be looking for some buys here. So let's take a look at retail sentiment real quick. Retail sentiment is currently 81% short. This indicates that 81% of retail traders are currently selling right now. So you typically want to do the opposite and buy. Looking over here at the fundamentals, fundamentals are currently up. They're down 35 points pre-market. Nothing too crazy, but they're pretty much neutral right now. Looking over here at the technicals, we currently have a neutral trend here on the shorter time frames and a bullish trend here on the higher time frames, as you can see down below. 30-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour are currently bullish with price above the pivots, trend meter green, pivots angling up. On the 1-minute, 5-minute, 10-minute, it's pretty much mixed. So there's not really too much right now to work with. As you can see, price is starting to climb up a bit. So we'll see here, obviously what happens in the next couple of minutes. ATR is currently 11 right now, going on 12. So the ATR is picking up, but it's not very high. We have news over here at 6:45, so just keep that in mind and be careful if you guys are looking to take any entries here. We typically shy away from news, but since we're going to be trying out that news strategy that I referred to you guys earlier, we'll kind of play it by ear and we'll see what we can get here. But we'll see what happens here. So looks like the original breakout might have happened down here, but there's a bunch of red flags, so I wouldn't have taken it. This candle right here, this green one, it's not weak, it's not strong, it's kind of in between. So that might have been the entry if you were looking to take something like that there. However, it's it's a little risky. So I wouldn't have taken it. There's too many red flags here with the sessions in the way. We have news coming up in about 10 minutes. We'll see what happens there. The liquidity here just got hit. So if anybody took the top level liquidity that I marked up there pre-market, it was right here at 36,011. Went straight through to full TP right there. So if anybody caught the entry right there, that's where it was. Let's see. Medusa said breakout V2 is running. For the breakout V2, I think we need the momentum signal to come up, Medusa. So that this momentum signal came up pre-market. We need the momentum signal to come up after market is open. So we would need, do I have that wrong? I don't even know if I have that right. Gotcha. No, you're right. Sorry, I'm getting confused because I'm looking at the breakout V2. You're all right. So Medu is right. There's a breakout V2 that's currently running right now. We had a buy signal right here. We had 2 green candles that came up right here. So this would have been the breakout V2. Thanks, Medu, for confirming that. Sorry, I just got it confused because I was thinking of the breakout V3. And that's kind of what's, these things always throw me off once we have like different variations to strategy. So the breakout V2 just hit full TP right there, guys. We had a buy signal here. We had 2 green candles following right here, and price pushed up and hit full TP. Thanks, Madhu, for confirming that. So there goes the breakout V2. The breakout V1 also came up somewhere down below. And and we'll continue looking for the next entry here. So breakout V2 already hit right there, full TP. Other than that, I gotta I gotta take a refresher on the video. So I'm gonna make new videos for like these new strategies we're applying because I'm starting to get a little confused because we have like small variations to each strategy. The high level scalps, high level scalp V2s, high level momentum scalps, breakouts. There's a lot of entries here that you guys can look for, a lot of opportunities that are coming up, but you just have to be dialed in with the criteria for each strategy. So, all right, price is currently at the 4-hour resistance. So we'll see if price comes back down. And it's starting to make its way back down, possibly back to open. All right, so breakout V2 hit, breakout V1 hit, breakout V3 has not come up yet. We got news coming up in about 13 minutes, or not 8 minutes actually. And we'll see what happens here. See if we could get some manipulation. I'm hoping we get manipulation. Whenever we get news, I always hope for price to do the opposite. Right? I always hope for price to go in the opposite direction so that when we do have the correction, we can catch that correction back in the direction that we need it to go. So, yeah, like I said here, we have S&P Global Manufacturing PMI at 645. It's coming up in about 6 minutes. We'll see how this ends up, playing through. I'm probably going to hold off on any other entries that come up from now until then because it is 6:38 right now, or you might get some pre-news movement. This is a high-impact news event, so you guys want to be careful. It's like straight inflation news. It's a PMI for S&P Global Manufacturing, and you probably just want to sit tight and just wait. Yeah, exactly. So Patricia said, I just watched the 10 a.m. news is a red flag on FTMO. Yeah, so the 10 o'clock or 10 a.m. news, which is going to be the 7 a.m. for us, it's the one following it. So we have S&P Global Manufacturing PMI, and then we have ISM Manufacturing PMI, both inflation news right here, coming back to back. So just be careful, guys. Let me check the FTMO calendar. Like Patricia said, she said it's a red flag. Not sure if it's restricted, but yeah, it's likely going to be a red flag for sure. Pull that up real quick. Where is my calendar? Did they move the calendar? Oh, I see economic calendar. Craig's asking, does this mean if you trade this on a funded, you violate and lose the account? Yes, 100%. Well, if it says restricted, then yes, Craig. Let me check. So I don't think it's restricted. Yeah, it's not restricted, so you can trade it, but it's a red folder. So I don't see any restriction here. Typically, if it's restricted, it'll say restricted event. But yeah, it's not restricted. So you can trade it, but it's happened to me before. So yeah, you have to look out for that. I've probably lost like I've had probably 2 or 3 situations where I've traded during news or during a holiday, and I've lost my account due to technical violation. It's happened like once a year. Thankfully, it hasn't happened this year, but yeah, you want to look out for that. But it's not restricted, so you can trade it if you want, but like Patricia said, it's probably going to be better to just sit and wait because there's going to be a lot of uncertainty as to direction and movement of price. So unless we get a huge manipulation here, I'm probably not going to take it. Like I need to see something that's like completely obvious. Like I need to see price, like for example, if the news event right here is negative, I need price to climb up super high, right? And then come down. I'm not going to take it if it just pushes up slightly and then comes down. I'm not going to take that, of course. Same vice versa. If we get positive news and price comes down super heavy down, I need it to come down and then come back up. And then I'll take the entry. I'm not just going to take it if it's something small because we need to have some volatility here or else we're going to get caught in the next news event right here at 7 o'clock. So, back to that news strategy, guys. So for example, if the news is positive, if price breaks down below the sessions right here and then comes back up, entry would happen right there. If price comes down and then you get a V1 variation right here, double body rejection, that's where the entry would be. And then you probably want to write it up to like wherever structure is. So like 300 might be a little too small. You might want to go for 400 or something like that. So we'll see. But we do have news coming up in about 4 minutes. It's a little subjective, but typically you want your TP stop loss to be around 300 to 500 pips. You want it to be not too tight and not too big, because you want to get in and out within a reasonable manner, especially when you have a news event right here. You might even need to pull out of it earlier. The 300 pips might even be too much. So you have about 15 minutes between this candle here and this candle here to decide whether you want to hold on to it or pull out, because these news events can be separate. Generally, they'll be the same direction, but I mean, who knows, right? We really don't know. The forecasting to be negative though. So the news event over here at 6:45 is forecasted to be negative, and the news event over here at 7 o'clock is also forecasted to be negative. So not super negative, but negative nonetheless. So just be careful if you guys are looking to take the trades here. I'll try to give you guys as much insight as possible as to like where I think entry should happen and where price will likely go. But again, it's a little too tricky because usually there's just one news event. Right here, there's two that are right next to each other. Usually there'll be one like at 7:30 and then 7 o'clock. But this is 6:45 and then 7. They're like right back to back from each other. So if you do get into the entry, I'd probably get in and out rather quickly, because you just don't want to get caught in the fake out. Craig said we're using Forex Factory news calendar and PMI is at 7. There is a PMI at 7, Craig. There's two PMIs. There's S&P Global Manufacturing PMI at 6:45, and there's ISM Manufacturing PMI at 7. So there's two different PMI news events that are coming out. So there's one at 7, but there's one at 6:45 too. All right, so let's see what happens here. Gotcha. Yeah. Yes, we still like Forex Factory is okay, but I feel like my FX book is more accurate with the importance of the count. But it wouldn't matter whether it's red or yellow. You should still look at it, especially if it's PMI, because PMI is inflation. So it doesn't matter if it's yellow or orange or red. I would still look at it altogether. All right, so let's see what happens here, guys. We got news coming out shortly, forecasting to be negative. So I'm hoping price pushes up. I'm hoping this here is negative and then price goes up, manipulates, and then comes right back down. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. All right, we got news in about 10 seconds. Once we get that, we can take a look at the chart, see if we can see a correction, manipulation. And the news event was, let's see what we got here, drumline. And it is loading, no price movement. Or barely any. Let me see. News event right there. Take that off. Yeah, not really much volatility at all. Let me refresh this real quick. Oh man, what's going on? All right, the news event was flat. So it was just flat. All right, so we can't really trade off that news because it wasn't positive or negative. It's just flat. It was exactly what they expected, and there's nothing that we can do about it. So, all right, we just got to wait now. We got another news event at 7 o'clock, so just keep that in mind. Yeah, the V3 just came up right there. Camo, if you're looking to take it. I think might have been a little too late for that, though. We do have news coming up shortly, though, so issue would happen right there. See if I get in for a partial of it. 300, price is coming down. It's coming down a bit. It's like right at the sessions though. So yeah, if you guys are looking for the breakout V3, the breakout V3 is actually running right here. There's a sell signal. It was invalid, but it was a sell signal followed by a red candle right here. And this is where we anticipate price to maybe correct down slightly a bit, maybe even down a opening price right here. I was going to try to get in, but I was kind of late. I was going to see if I get in for maybe like a little partial here because it's just, let me see if it pulls back right here. Yeah, Andreas said risky area, in my opinion, he set out. Yeah, it's because it's right at the sessions right here. So yeah, I would consider it to be a little risky as well. Let's see if it's, I was going to try to get in later, but it's kind of tricky where it's currently at. Let me see where the 10's at. Well, the 10 already got hit, but if it does come back down, the 10 would be, and then we have news at 7 o'clock. So yeah, if you guys are looking to get into this or, oh, I put my pending order. I was like wondering why does it make that clicking noise? Because my computer is muted, but it still makes like a ghost noise. So I put a pending order right here to catch it as it comes back down. And I'm probably gonna go for like maybe 100 pips or so. So 100 pips. Because we have news coming up right here at 7, so I don't want to be holding on to it for too long. So I have a pending order just waiting. It's not filled yet. It's kind of weird how MT4 still makes that noise, even though my computer is muted right here. You can see the sound bar is off. Okay, so I'm not filled yet. I'm only gonna go for the quick 100 down here. So I'm just gonna put a little line there so I can see where it's at. Because we have news over here at 7 o'clock. If there was no news at 7 o'clock, I would take the full move. But we just don't have really much time. ATR is currently at 15 right now, so price might kind of just bounce around a bit. My order still hasn't filled. I couldn't get at the exact price entry because obviously MC4 is different pricing from here. So I just had to kind of gauge it and round it to the lower entry point or lower hold number. So we got over here. Andrew said there's a V1 running right now. Let's check the fundamentals. Fundamentals are pretty much flat. Sentiment's still pretty high. Yeah, news coming up over here. So I might just cancel this order soon, guys, if the doesn't get filled soon. Look at MC4 real quick. It's just kind of sitting right there. I mean, it's waiting to get filled, but it's not filled yet. But we do have news coming up right here at 7 o'clock. This is a bigger news event at 7:46 or at 7 o'clock. It's forecasted to be positive. So yeah, I might just cancel my order here, guys. Let's see where I'm at. Still hasn't filled. I'm probably just going to cancel it, guys. So I put a pending order right here to fill it if price does come back down. But we do have news coming up in 10 minutes. So unless it comes down like within the next 2 minutes or so, I'm just going to cancel it. See if it comes back down. No, it's not really coming back down. Because usually between the first 5 minutes before news and 5 minutes after news is typically an area that we probably want to hold off on taking any entries, unless it's like in the direction of correction. If it's not, then obviously no fill. Right here, my order hasn't been filled. I have a pending order just waiting right here, guys, to catch it as it comes back down. And then I'm probably going to get out at the 100 pip mark right here because it is too close to news right now. 650. Yeah, it's a little too close to news. All right, let's see. We got news coming up in about a few minutes. The news is actually positive. I thought it was going to be negative, and I guess I misread it. But yeah, PMI over here is 46.7, and the consensus is 47.6. So that means that they're forecasting it to be a point positive. The forecast was on point for the S&P Global Manufacturing PMI right here. It was 50 last month. They were forecasting it to be 49.4, and it was right at 49.4. This one here, the forecasting to be higher. So here's the thing, if it stays at 46.7, it's going to be considered negative. So if it doesn't move, it's going to be considered to stay at 7. And then after that, we have the Fed speaking right after. We have Fed member Goolsbee speaking right after, and then we have Powell speaking as well. So it's a little tricky. Pretty tricky with where it's currently at. I don't know, we'll see. All right, the entry still hasn't filled yet. Let's go over here. I mean, it's really just ranging. So if you look over here on our clean chart, price is for the most part just ranging between the 4-hour resistance and the 1-hour support. Let me see if there's any other zones here. There's no other zones for us to draw here because it's kind of just sitting right down the middle. Man, I didn't realize Powell was speaking today. Powell's speaking today. I don't know if I'm going to take any entries. Speaking at 8 o'clock. So hopefully we can get at least maybe 1 or 2 entries, before we get to 8 o'clock. But Powell is speaking. So Goolsbee is going to speak at 7. Powell's going to speak at 8. You want to be careful around these time periods because you'll get some obvious manipulation that happens before then. Pretty news, because a lot of people are going to be discussing the news over here that was released for PMI, the inflation news. And if that's the case, then Powell's either going to he's either going to go with the news or he's going to go against it. So when he speaks, it's like pretty one-sided. It's either he's going to agree with the inflation and that we need to make changes, or he's going to disagree with it and say that there's other changes that need to be made. So all right, back to the charts over here. There's still nothing going on. Price is going back and forth. ATR is currently at 13 right now. Price is coming back down. We're getting closer and closer to 7 o'clock, but there's nothing here yet. So change this real quick. Yeah, there's not really much going on here. We currently have a lower high right here. I was going to see if there was a V1 pattern that was setting up off this lower high, but then the candle closed green, or it ended up becoming green. Again, we have news over here at 7 o'clock, but there's no movement here. As you can see, a lot of people are just sitting and waiting. That's literally what's happening right now. People are just sitting and waiting. And they're just waiting for the news to happen over here at 7 o'clock. So I'm going to cancel my order, I think. There's no reason for me to hold on to this. It's 654 right now. My order never got filled because I had to put a different entry point due to the price difference. And I'm just going to wait. So no entry on my end over here, guys. I know the price was kind of sitting around this area, but I was never able to fill because, so this price point right here is different from MT4. Let me see where I put my fill. My fill was at 35,964. So price never came down that low. It just kept floating above it. So it's different on MT4 and here. So whenever I put a pending order on MT4, I have to set it up differently because the obvious reasons there. But other than that, there's not really much here to take at the moment. The news there was not positive or negative, so we couldn't trade off the news there. And other than that, we're just kind of waiting for the next news event right here. So when the next news event comes up, we'll see if there's any reaction to price or if we can see whether it's positive or negative. And then from there, we can see where, it'll end up going. So if you guys ever decide to put like your pending order, well, I mean, most of you guys are on MT4. What I typically do is I round it to the one below. So what I'll do here is, so for this entry right here, I would have identified this as the entry candle. So if you look at the candle over here on MT4, the entry candle was at, it was at 35,962.70. And I would have rounded that down to 35,961 or 962 flat. And it just never came down to that point to fill. So I never got into the entry there. But that's typically how I would place my pending orders. I would look for the same candle on MT4. I'd look at the number over here on the side on MT4, and then I round it to the lower number. So for example, right here, it's at 35.6 or whatever it was, 35 something. And then I round it to the whole number below. All right, we got news coming up right here at 7 o'clock. Let's see if there's anything that we can take here based off the news. Yeah, I mean, we'll see right here if we can take anything off the news, if the news just provide us any opportunity for entry. But we do have it coming up over here at 7 o'clock. Let's see where this ends up going over here. So the reason why I do that is so that I get in at better price. Not better prices and better, like more profit, but I get in at a more solid entry point. So like my entry actually would have happened. This is where entry was supposed to happen. And since I entered late, my entry would happen a little farther down here. And then you can see right here, it never came back down to fill it. So, all right. So I know a lot of you guys ask me, how do I place my pending orders for MC4? It's slightly different because you have to do the math, but it's not that hard. You just have to round it to the lowest, either the lower number or the higher number, depending if you're going for a buy or a sell. Yeah, Desil said no official trades yet for today. Yeah, not yet. The ATR is too low, so we couldn't look at any momentum pullback scalps. There's no high-low scalps that came up yet either. Market opened over here at 6:30. And you can see there's no highs that have been established. If anything, this would be the next entry that would come up right here as well. So this would be the first entry that would actually come up if anybody was looking to take this here. But it's right next to news, so probably not. So this right here would be an original high-low scalp, but it's like literally right next to news. It's like a minute till news. Yeah, it's too close to news. I probably definitely wouldn't risk it. But yeah, this would be the high-low scalp. So if you guys are looking for one of the entries that we typically look for, it'd be right here for the high-low scalp entry. There's a higher high right here, price broken, flows past it. There's news on this next candle, so obviously I wouldn't mess with anything right here because when the news comes out, price can either spike up or spike down, one or the other way. So obviously not going to take that position there. And let's see what this news event releases. So when this news event gets released, we'll see if we can maybe catch something here. But we're going to focus right here on this news event right here. So in about 10 seconds, news is going to be released and we'll see what happens here. If you guys want to take this as a high-low scalp or a high-low scalp V2, it's still setting up for a high-low scalp V2. If price comes back below and comes back up, you can take that as an entry for a high-low scalp V2. Huge bullish push right there. So let's check the news real quick. So the news was negative. Okay. So the news is actually negative. This might be manipulation and price might come back down. So you can look for a V1 variation or something like that to catch the continuation back down. If anybody is looking to take that, of course. So let's see, we'll look for like a V1 variation or something like that, or you guys can see the huge manipulation on this candle though. I was hoping price would continue to get manipulated up, but doesn't look like the case there. Yeah, price is supposed to come down. So I'm hoping it pushes up higher because I'm not going to take it if it's below. I want it to push up higher. I would have wanted to breaking flows past this area, then come back down. And if that was the case, I would have taken the sell like right here. And then ride this back down further. This could have been a 50-50 for sure. Yeah, definitely this could have been a 50-50 type entry. All right, so what you want us to see here is you want to see manipulation to the upside, and then you want to see a correction back down. So I want price to get manipulated back up higher, but it needs to close up there. It can't just like fake out. I need to actually push up, close up here or whatever it may be, provide whatever, a V1 variation or even a correction down below the sessions. And that's where the entry would happen for this specific. And it did exactly what we anticipated. So I mentioned over here, I said if it was forecasted to be positive, but it was the same as it was last month, which it was 64.7, then it would go negative, right? And that's exactly what happened. And that's kind of what we were hoping for here. So what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for price to continue climbing. I actually want it to continue climbing, and then I want to see it correct back down. So this is a good thing here. We want price to continue climbing here because price should not be climbing. The other news events here were, well, basically the low events were positive and all the medium and high impact was negative. So it shouldn't be climbing like that. This here is I see it as a manipulation. You can probably look for a V1 variation to come up or look for some sort of momentum to swing price right back below the sessions right here. I think the sessions is going to be the key structure to look out for. So V1 variation probably be the tip of the iceberg. And then from there, it'll probably start climbing back down. And if you're looking to take it, it's so far out that you can probably ride it for 500 pips or so. I think 500 pips would be a good criteria. Yeah, Daniel said it's almost about to hit the weekly high. And if price doesn't come back down, then I would consider this like some extreme manipulation because it shouldn't be coming up like that so high. The news here is negative, of course. The only problem is that we have the Fed speaking. So this is a problem because if the Fed's speaking, even though the news was negative here, the Fed can say, okay, price with the news was negative, but this isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's only off by 1 point. And since it's off by 1 point, they'll have a correction by next month. So it's a tricky situation here. If you guys want to take this, I mean, feel free. I probably will not be taking it. There's a V1 here that's starting to set up. No V1 there. But again, you want to look for possibly a V1 pattern and then look for that correction to the downside. But it's just too tricky here because you have the Fed speaking. If the Fed wasn't speaking right now, then it would be a lot more easier for us to just take the correction back down. But the problem is they can say stuff that's going to prevent the correction from happening, right? They can say a lot of things where, they're going to say it's a slow month because it's November going into December, we're going to the holidays, which is like historically a slower time for us anyway. So they're not exactly wrong. So yeah, exactly. Patricia said this is looking like a no trade day. Yeah, I agree, Patricia. It's not looking super great. But if you guys do want to take a risky entry, I mean, this is what the entry that you'd be looking for based off the news if the correction does happen. So it looks like the correction might happen right here. And if that's the case, then this is going to be, direction or price. So I guess you'll see here what happens. See if it corrects back down from this point. I'm just following it, guys. I'm not really looking to take anything because obviously it's just too risky right now with where price is currently at and like with the Fed speaking. But I'm still curious to see how this moves, in reaction to the strategy, of course. So let's see as price climbs back down. I think the tricky area here would be that sessions. If price breaks below the sessions, then I think price will continue climbing. If it doesn't, then I think that's where it's going to be kind of tricky because price might swing back up from there. So yeah, key price point would be the sessions right there because that's the key structure to look out for. Because once it breaks that, then I think price will continue climbing down further, obviously. Nice. Oscar over here caught it for 15 points. So he got in, got out pretty quick. And yeah, pretty solid. So it came down, let's see how far it came down from. From this point right here, it came down about 200 pips. Tricky area is going to be this area right here. Because this is how the strategy is supposed to work. You see the V2 variation as the confirmation of reversal, and then the continuation is going to happen, once it breaks past the sessions and whatnot down there. So it'd have to close and like break and close below that point. And if it does, it's probably going to continue dropping even further to the next level. So we'll continue to follow it here. There's no other entries for us to take here. We're looking for some momentum, obviously, which we don't have right now. But yeah, if you get that momentum there for a sell, it's got to be a valid sell, though. It can't just be like, some random momentum and whatnot. Let's see. Yeah, Rashida said V3 breakout, hopefully. So I think the V3 already came up earlier, Rashida, but it was like in an area that we didn't want to be trading at. So it was right here where all of these red flags were. So the V3 actually came up earlier, the actual V3. If you want to look for the continuation, you can find the continuation, but for the actual V3, I think it happened right here and it was actually a loss. So price kind of came up right here. We had the sell signal. It was followed by a red candle. This is technically but it happened right at news. So it's not one that I would have necessarily have taken, right? Because it happened like, obviously you're not supposed to take those entries based off like when news happens, and news is right there at 6:45. So when this red candle right here closed, this was a news candle, and it ended up, as you can see, doing the complete opposite and going straight up. So yeah, the breakout V3 did come up here, but it would have been avoided because it happened right at news at 6:45. But yeah, if you're looking for the continuation, that's kind of what Cal was looking for too. I don't know if I'm going to trade today, guys. It's just not looking too great. I mean, this will probably still play out, but you guys can kind of see here how it's moving very, very tricky, right? It's not exactly moving how it should. This typically, like for this entry here, for this the news entry that we look at, it usually goes straight through, right? If it like you have the V1 variation, and then you have, unless you went for the smaller TP, of course, you could went for like the 300, it still wouldn't have hit, but it's close to it right there. The weird thing is that the ATR is super high, so you'd expect it to actually come down, but it's not coming down as smoothly as we would have expected. Price is kind of just ranging around this area here, back and forth. Yeah, exactly. Andrew said he got his one for the day. Have a good, yeah, definitely. So Andrew said had his one for the day. He's not going to risk anything else, which is smart. I would agree with him too, because there's just no point to risk anything else here, unless there's something else that you guys see, but I don't really see too much here. I'm just trying to look around to see if there's anything that I could see, but there's not really much going on here. So, all right, guys, if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm going to hang around and continue looking for any possible entries, but with the Fed speaking right now, I don't think there's anything that I'm willing to take. I was kind of tempted to take this here. I probably should have taken it just for a quick little profit because I was expecting it to come down at least 100 pips. I could have got in now, but I don't know. I'm going to be safe today because today is just one of those days where it's just not smooth enough. So I think this will probably hit, but again, it's not smooth enough for me to just hop in and want to take it because this just might range here for a bit as it goes back and forth. Price is currently above the 4-hour resistance, but you can see where price faked out. So let me just take this off real quick. So you guys can see the fake out here. Price was kind of ranging right here, broke above. Now it's back into range. It faked out right here, pulled back into the 4-hour resistance. So not really too much here to, really to work with, to be honest. It's kind of like, looks like it might just go back into range. There's a range right here. Price broke above. And again, we're back into this range. Not really much here to work with. The entry is still running though. So the entry is still running and it's looking good in profit, but I'm not going to FOMO into this. I was kind of getting the idea to FOMO maybe 100 pips right here, which could have been done. If price breaks and closes past the structure, 100 pips, not that bad. But I'm not going to do it. I'm going to hold off. All right. So there's no other entries here. We had news over here. I'll mark up news real quick on this chart. We got that right there. So the good thing here is that the strategy is working. The new strategy that I pretty much introduced to you guys that we're kind of playing around with, it's working. It's just I don't feel comfortable taking them. So the one yesterday hit. I've been testing the strategy for a couple weeks now. I don't think I've ever had a losing day from it, as long as you follow it properly. Like if you're not just taking random trades. The only thing that needs to be kind of figured out would be the TP stop loss. So for example, here, the TP stop loss should probably be at 44. That's kind of where it realistically should be. So realistically, it should be at 44. The 300 did get hit already. But using the trailing stop indicator right here to identify where your TP stop loss should be, it should be at 44 if you want to be dialed in exactly where it should be. So that's where it's at, and it is pushing through to full TP right there. So if anybody took the news entry right here, it's playing out nicely. Kind of regret not taking it, but it's okay. I don't need to regret anything. It's the more that you dwell on something, the more that you'll kind of, yeah, damn, that would have been a nice entry. So the entry played out perfect right here. There goes the news entry, guys. So the way that I identified this entry here was we had news at 7 o'clock. It was negative for ISM manufacturing PMI and ISM manufacturing employment, medium and high impact news. It was negative, right? So you got manipulation here to the upside. News happened right here at 7 o'clock. Price got manipulated up, and it did exactly what I planned out for it to do. So we had a V1 variation come up right here. This is a reversal pattern. I said, once you see that V1, it's probably going to be the ceiling, right? And that's exactly what happened. The ceiling happened right there. And then I said, when price breaks and flows past the sessions right here, the Asia high, it's going to confirm that price is likely to continue dropping down lower. And what happened here did exactly that. So this is another strategy that we'll be looking at based off news. I'm kind of excited to do this because we usually we shy away from news, but now that we have news, we have a news strategy, and it works very well. I think it's going to be beneficial for a lot of us. We have news again on Monday, so I'm actually excited to see news. Typically, we don't like seeing news, but I actually want to see news now because we have a strategy here to follow. Yeah, we got news over here on Monday, 7 o'clock, medium impact. We got news over here at 6:45 on Tuesday, 6:45 Tuesday, 7 o'clock. I don't like when they're bunched up like this, but I mean, we'll see. Maybe it'll still work in our favor if the news events align with each other. So, yeah, other than that, yeah, definitely. Rashida said nice, should have held it. Yeah, I know that the sell signal never came up, Rashida. It actually came up right now. So this would be the continuation that like you and Camel were kind of looking for. So if this closes red, then this might drop even further and go down to opening price. If that's the case, then it would be, if you wanted to extend it even further, you do the 50-50. Oh man, this is perfect. I wish I would have taken this. So if you guys remember earlier when it played out, I said it's between 300 and 500, right? And I mentioned because there's so much space down here, you could definitely go for the 500. And if I went for that 500 here, yeah, that would have been a $10,000 profit for me. Nice profit to close out the trading week. It's all good though. And I like having a bigger TP stop loss like this because it gives you more cushion. So like if price was to pull into drawdown here a little bit, you have that cushion for it to come back down. So I'm pretty excited to keep moving forward with this strategy. Whenever I see stuff like this, like patterns in the market, I'll always introduce them to you guys. And I think since this is like a one-to-one type strategy, and then also if you go for the bigger TP, like the 500, you can recoup and it ends up becoming a positive risk reward because you can go for 300, 500 if you really wanted to, or if you want to just keep it one-on-one, you could do that or do a 1 to whatever, 1.5, and then maybe like 1.2 right here. So a lot of different ways that you can execute this trade, but I think it works pretty well as long as you have like a confirmation of direction. So, all right, let me see if there's anything else here that I'm missing. PC's asking what the breakout 3 is. The breakout 3 it's the same. So all the breakouts kind of have something similar to them. Breakout 1, you're looking for a confirmation of a strong candle in the direction of momentum. So for example, over here, we had, so market opened over here at 630, right? Market opened at 630. We had a buy signal. You look for the strong green candle, which would have, I guess, happened like right here. And that'd be the breakout V1. For the breakout V2, you're looking for 2 following green candles in the direction of momentum. So market open right here at 630. We had a buy signal, 2 green candles right there. This is where the breakout V2 happened. The breakout V3 is pretty much the same thing, except you're looking for momentum on market open. So you're looking for the first momentum signal to come up, and then you're looking for a following green candle. So you should probably watch the one from yesterday, PC, if you can watch the live session from yesterday. But you're basically looking for a pattern like this. You're looking for the market to open. I know the market didn't open right here, but say, for example, this is 630. You get a green candle followed by a green. You get a green buy signal followed by a green candle, and that would be your breakout V3. I wasn't planning on sharing this with you guys, but because I was trading for a hedge, but I don't think I'm gonna trade for them because I make more profit just trading for myself. Having a hedge would be nice, and I'd like to get sponsored by a hedge so that I can create my own hedge fund. But I don't think I'm gonna trade with them because if I trade for a hedge, then I have to share my strategies with them, and I'm not really looking to share. I'd rather share my strategies with you guys. Like I don't want to share my strategies with like a big company that's just going to basically tear it up for us. Because if I start sharing my strategies with like the masses, like if you guys have noticed, I don't really promote K2 anymore. I don't tell people to go to our website and sign up and stuff because I don't want anybody using our strategies. The more people that use a certain strategy, the less effective it's going to be. So I don't mind sharing with you guys here, but I don't want to share it to the general public. The only reason I stream on YouTube is for transparency. So you guys will see what I do every single day. There's nothing different. And it's for my documentation too. So sometimes I want to go back and see what I did. Like say, for example, next Friday, the market's moving kind of crazy. I want to see how the market was moving last Friday. I'll just pull up this live session and I'll see what I did. And what I need to change to improve on, whatever problems we run into. So yeah, if there's any other questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm not really expecting to take much else today because of the news that's happening. So it's 7:20 right now. We had Fed Goolsbee speak, and we have Fed Chair Powell speaking at 8 o'clock. Unfortunately, I didn't take any trades today. I planned on taking trades, but I just didn't take anything today because I just didn't feel comfortable taking these positions. For one, like down here, we had some news entries, but they were right at all these red flags. And then this was like the only entry that I was really wanting to take. But the problem with this here was that I just kind of chickened out of it, honestly. But it played out exactly how we wanted it to. Price pushed up based off news for manipulation, correction back down here off the B1. Breaking close below structure right here for a continuation. And then it came down, pretty nicely. I just think sells are kind of risky because the sentiment's so high. Let's check the sentiment again. Sentiment's back at 82. So this is why I'm always kind of a little wary about taking sells because the sentiment's so strong for a sell. So I don't want to be holding on to a sell for too long. And that's kind of the double-edged sword about knowing too much about the market. if you know about sentiment and sentiment goes against your trade, you're probably not going to be too comfortable taking the trade, even though it could be a good entry. But yeah, other than that, nice Martha ticket for 20 points. Great work, Martha, catching the news entry right here. Camo said he made 800 off the trade. He's up 3% for the week. Nice work, Camo. Yeah, if you continue to do that, Camo, you should be pretty solid. Passing your challenge pretty quickly. The continuation happened right here. I think for the continuation, though, if people are looking to take a continuation, I think we talked about having it as a valid candle, right? So like for this right here, I wouldn't take this as a continuation because it's not a valid sell signal. And same with this one right here, I wouldn't take this as a continuation because it's not a valid buy signal. For the breakout V3, I don't think it matters because you're looking for the first momentum. But I think moving forward, I would look for only the valid momentum followed by the same candle. So if this here closes as a valid sell signal and then you have a red candle after it, I think that would be more solid versus like one of these right here. And that's just from my experience. If you guys want to take it however you like, feel free, because you still see that they still work out. Like even though they're invalid, they still work out pretty fine. So I think like if you just so this is how I always create all my strategies. For all of my strategies, I usually base it directly off momentum only first. So I look at each momentum signal and I look at the patterns that come up from it, right? So like, for example, here, this could be another entry, another type of strategy. So for example, here we have a valid, or we have an invalid signal here, but you have a followed by a red. Just looking at this here, I can put together another strategy. So I can anticipate the fake out. This is actually the momentum pullback scalp. It's just actually the original momentum pullback strategy. If you guys remember this strategy, I created this a long time ago. This was actually applied on the higher time frames. If you get a sell signal here and it's invalid, you actually would let it drop down a little bit, put a buy stop right here, and then catch it as it swings back up. So same with this one right here. You'd allow this to come down and then you catch it as it swings back up. So this is one of the original strategies that I used a long time ago with the intraday scalp, with the trend meter. So basically you'd look for an opposite signal or opposite candle, like something like this right here. You have a buy signal, the trend meter is red. You let price kind of push up a little bit, and when price comes back down, you have your pending sell stop right there to catch it. Obviously go back down. So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to make adjustments to these strategies. But typically, if I'm looking to create something, I start with the momentum and I'll add other things like the trend meter, the pivots, the high-low, the sessions to avoid any risky entries. And now we have the trailing stop indicator as well. So there's a lot of different things you guys can do. But as of right now, I just don't see much happening on the chart, so I'm not expecting to take anything else over here as well. Nice, David's done for the day. Riga said, I've never seen the Dow pumping like this every day. Yeah, I know, right, Riga? This week has been pretty crazy for the Dow. If you guys have been trading US30 with us, the Dow has been it's been moving a lot, which has been super, super solid. Alan is asking, when it gets this high, 82%, is this a stop hunter's dream? Yeah, for the most part. Not on a Friday though, because the volatility here kind of dies down a little bit and price goes sideways. So not necessarily on a Friday, but yeah, if you're looking for entries and you're looking to stop these, like you're looking for these people to get stopped out, I would look for the same situation that we were looking at earlier, but in the opposite direction. So for example, right here, there's a V1 pattern. And what you would want to focus on is liquidity to the upside. And that's kind of what you want to look out for. So you want to see the reversal pattern kind of set up. And then when price climbs its way back up to stop out these highs, that's where you'd be looking to take the entry. So like I would if I was in your position, you want to look for these people to get stopped out, you just keep looking for these highs to get established and you just keep drawing levels there. So price comes down lower, your first level to look for would be this area here. Right? When price pushes back up to this level, it's probably gonna go for a stop hunt and it's gonna push up and to the next level there. So yeah, Short answer to your question is yes, Alan. This is typically what we used to look for before. If you guys remembered how we applied the liquidity pushes originally, we didn't have like multiple time frames. We just applied liquidity on the 1 minute time frame, and we would just take trades in the direction of sentiment, right? If you guys see over here, the different levels of liquidity already got hit. So full TP right there. And the next level over here as well, full TP. So 2 back-to-back full TPs over here for liquidity, or 3 back-to-back. There's one down here, one right here, and one right here. So if you guys are positioning yourself to catch liquidity to the upside, because it's going to push up eventually. It's just, like I mentioned, today's not a good day because it's Friday, market's going to close. But if you have a high, retail sentiment, like say Monday, I think next week, if this is the case and this stays high, then you're probably going to expect a pretty strong bullish push until the end of the year. And historically, December is a bullish month. So it happens every year. If you guys ever look at US30, Camo was talking to me about this a couple months ago. He mentioned how I kind of gave you guys that hint that towards the end of the year, the market's typically bullish. And if you want to trade that way, you can. So what you could do here is you can even go on the 1 minute's probably not going to be the best. I mean, the 1 hour is probably not the best, but maybe on something like you probably would have to go on the lower time frames because if you look over here, the higher highs there's only like one higher high there. Yeah, even the 1 minute. So like what I would do here is I would keep track of the highs basically. So what you want to look for here is you want to look for price to climb down further and further and further. And then eventually when price does swing back up, it's going to stop out all of these highs. So yeah, that's kind of how we used to apply the liquidity a long time ago when we first introduced it. Obviously now it's become a lot more detailed. We don't even mark up liquidity on the 1 minute anymore, but I mean, it still works perfectly fine if that's something that you guys want to apply. Yeah, exactly. Brock said Friday is Friday for a reason, it seems. Yeah, definitely. And Daniel said, man, we're almost at the all-time high for the Dow. How long can this go? Yeah, I mean, it does this like a lot during the winters or during December, Daniel. This happened, I think the same thing happened last year and the year before that. And we said the same thing. We're like, man, how high can this go or how far can this go, right? It's just typically how historical data works. If you guys want to go back and look at that, so like if you're curious about what I'm talking about here, just go on, say like the weekly chart. And, if you mark up, so for example, I would say markup December of like every year, basically. So you go to December of 2022. We're in December now. December of 21. December of 20. So if you go back, like say we're in 2023, 19, and 18, it's usually a bullish month. Like towards the end of the year, it typically, so we'll go back like, let's say 4 years here, right? There's 4 years of trading, basically. And you go down to the daily time frame. Yeah, so you'll see over here, like, okay, so December 1st happened like right there. It's like Santa's rally. Last year wasn't as like bullish, but it did end up, it continued up, but it was kind of late. Like it happened right here, like on December 12th. Like price kind of came down a little bit initially, first couple of days of December, and then it came right back up. Same with this right here. You can see on December 1st, of course, today, price is making that bullish push. Again, right here, December of 2021, you get that bullish push. It's hit, yeah, it always happens in December. Yeah, Sisu said, yeah, we call it the Santa rally. And then you have the January effect, like you mentioned. again right here. So this was huge. Like on December 20th, I think this was COVID year. This is where like you could literally take every buy and it would just go straight up. I think this was when Trump was still president. So like we had that plus Trump, and you can see over here from December 1st up until the end of the year, or like into the next year, basically, we had the Santa rally. So again, right here, you can see again, this is even COVID again in 2019, we had that Santa rally right there. So yeah, you could expect a bullish run again this year. I don't know how strong it'll hold for, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if like a new all-time high gets hit again, which is crazy because we're going into recession, but I mean, it is what it is, right? I never question the market because as long as the market has volatility, we can make money in the market. So I don't really care if it's being manipulated or any of that. We're not long-term investors, so we don't care if price continues to climb up or price continues to climb down. We just care that price is moving up and down every single day, of course. Jasmine says a high from the news move. I mean, any high in general, Jasmine, doesn't have to be from the news move. It can be a high, like any highs that get established. But yeah, from the news move over here, it's a higher high. So if you're looking for liquidity, you're just going to mark up any high. That's why it's important that you guys have my indicator here, because if you guys don't have my high-low indicator, it's hard for you to tell where the highs are actually at, right? That's the whole reason why I created that indicator. So if you have my high-low indicator, you just turn this on, and it has pretty much all of the high points marked up here. So here's another example. If you guys had my high-low indicator, you could have caught all this liquidity right here, right? So check this out. If you're doing exactly what I just said right now, you turn on the high-low indicator. So let's turn it on real quick. Look at all these highs here that have not been tested, right? So this is the original way of applying my liquidity push strategy. You go and you mark up all of the liquidity here, right? Because this is going to be where everybody's stop losses are sitting. So you mark up all of these highs here. And then you have retail sentiment that's like 80%. So price is going to go up. It has to go up eventually. So see how price just tumbles down right here? From Friday morning, basically London session up until market open. You have all this liquidity sitting right here, right? So if you guys had my indicator right there, you would have been able to identify the correction back up. So price hits liquidity right here. Where does it go from that point? It typically reaches to the next level of liquidity right here, right? It went right through right there. Where's the next target? Next level of liquidity right here, right? And then from there, where's the next target? Next level of liquidity right here. So Alan, going back to what you were asking for earlier, yes, you can just wait. Like if you want it, this is a stop loss hunter's dream because you have all the liquidity sitting right there. And then you can just pretty much ride this up higher and higher. And it just wiped out all the liquidity that I marked up right there, right? So if you guys want to go old school and do how I used to trade liquidity, this is literally, you could have predicted this was going to hit before market even opened today, because you would have marked up all the highs over here, and you would have saw, oh, when you woke up this morning, like, hey, look, the sentiment is super high, so price has to go up. And what happened? Price went directly up. So yeah, if you guys want to do my original application of liquidity, you guys can see it's very spot on. I mean, you could even do it the previous day. It's been bullish for like market's been bullish for the past couple of days. So if you wanted to do it again, like say the previous day over here, like, same thing again right here. If you got up in the morning and you're like, okay, I want to mark up liquidity over here, you just have liquidity marked up right there, have liquidity marked up right there, right there, right there. And you're like, okay, market opens over here at 6:30. What am I looking for? I'm looking for price to knock out this liquidity and shoot up to the next level up here, right? Because you have the higher highs marked up already, or the high. It doesn't matter if it's a higher high or a higher low. You have all these highs here marked up. Market opens right here at 6:30 yesterday, knocks out this liquidity, goes back up higher, and knocks out the next level of liquidity right there. So yeah, if you guys want to apply liquidity like we used to trade this way a lot, like a while back. I just don't trade this way because it's too risky. We had a lot of people complaining. Obviously, people would complain when they don't do it properly because they don't have the indicators, but they're trying to do it with it. And this is a really profitable way. You know, when we first did this before, I used to make a ton of profit. If you guys remember, I would like post up like 50K days on like just one account. I don't do it anymore because it's too risky. There's like some days where it's not going to be moving so smooth. Like this isn't really a smooth move right here. I wouldn't necessarily hold this. I would probably take it and then get out for partials in between. Like just pull out at 100 pips each time. Um, but yeah, I mean, you can hold it technically because it's pushed up from this point down here up to here. It's about like 500 pips. If you wanted to go for a 500 pip move. Let's see, question from Daniel or Alan actually. Alan is asking, when you mark it up, you mark up all of them. Alan, there's no difference between a higher high and a lower low. So you mark up the higher high, you mark up the lower highs. Doesn't matter. Same thing. Continuation right there just got hit again. Nice. Yeah, it looks like price might be correcting back up from where it's currently at now. Yeah, pretty much. Jasmine said, yeah, Friday, yes, and it worsens. December, Friday, holiday mood all over. Yeah, I agree with you, Jasmine. This month is either going to be hit or miss. Alan is asking, sorry, repeat that. Yeah, it doesn't matter what the higher highs are, Alan. You mark up all the high lows. It doesn't matter if it's a higher high, it doesn't matter if it's a lower high, you mark up every high. Because you care about where all the highs are set, right? Because that's where people place their stop losses. It doesn't matter if it's a higher high or a lower low. If someone's entering a sell right here, they're going to place their stop loss at the swing high. No, so I think you're confusing it, Alan. Just cut out that whole thought process that you're thinking and any high low. It doesn't matter if it's a higher high or a lower low, just a high low. Anything that's marked up here that's not touched yet, that's going to be a stop loss that hasn't been triggered, right? If anybody's chasing a sell here, their stop loss is going to be placed at any high or any low. So price is coming down, all the highs here, that's what you're looking for because that's where sentiment is, right? If everybody's taking sells, like you have sentiment here, which is 81%, like don't even think about a higher high or a lower high because you're just going to confuse yourself. It doesn't matter if it's a higher high or a lower high. You're just marking up at any high lows. That's the whole point of it, right? All the highs get marked up, all the lows get marked up. So when price swings up, it's going to knock out all the highs. When price swings down, it's going to knock out all the lows. So it's just a common thing that a lot of people get kind of tripped up about, but it's like making it more complicated than it really is. So don't care about whether it's a higher high or a lower low. Just mark up any highs or any lows. Because if you mark up all the highs, it doesn't matter. They're all going to be marked up there, right? So you got all the highs right here. And of course, you're going to look for the highs because the sentiment is bullish. So you're just going to look for all these highs here to get hit. But all right, guys. So if there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. It's 7:39 right now, so it's getting close to 8 o'clock. There's not really much for us here to look at. But yeah, I mean, today was a pretty good day. I mean, it's good volatility. There just wasn't any entries for me to take personally because of the, obviously the type of market that we're currently in right now. It just doesn't meet my criteria with what I'm looking to take here. Yeah, no problem, Alan. I'm always going to try to make things as simple as possible for you guys. No, there's no point. There's no need to complicate trading. Trading, I feel like if you know less information, it might be even better. Because, so for example, today there was the sell entry that came up right here, but I totally avoided the sell entry because of retail sentiment. If I didn't know about retail sentiment, I would have taken the trade there and I would have made a huge 500 pip profit. But it's all good. I'd rather be careful than not. So it's a double-edged sword. It's sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad to know more information, but most of the time it's better to just know one style of trading, one way of trading, and not really putting in too much effort to confuse yourself. But that's why you have me here. I'm going to give you guys the pros, the cons, the good, the bad, so that you guys understand, whether it's a risky trade or not. Because I think that's the biggest thing. If you guys can understand when it's risky and when it's not, you can just stick to all of the quality entries. Yeah, Riga said this will probably go up to 40K before retail changes their sentiment. Yeah, and I agree too, Riga. So I think this year will continue climbing up. I don't know how much farther because there's not very many higher highs left on the chart. So let's go over here to the 4-hour chart. Yeah, it's already at an all-time high right now. So I don't know how high this will climb up. typically you'd want to see some sort of retracement and then a correction back up. So it might retrace down a little bit before it comes back up. But I mean, who knows? Whenever price is at all-time high, it's always a tricky area to be trading. All right, guys, I think that's it for today. I don't have anything else here for us to look at. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we'll wrap this up for the day and call it a week. This week's been pretty decent. I mean, this whole month, I've only had, I think, one loss this month. So for the most part, it's been pretty good. Yeah, the V3 just hit right there. I was like, man, I just saw it and I was like kind of tempted to hop into it late, but it's all good. If you guys took the trade there was a V3 or a breakout continuation, whatever you want to consider it. Played out perfect right there. Sell signal, red candle following it, broke right through and blasted to full TP. Yeah, Camo said he only takes one trade a day, so he skipped it. Yeah, which is fine. That's kind of what I would do too. All right, looking over here at our team profits, we have Barack over here, total profit of 3,245 for the day. Nice work, Barack. We've got Barack's other account, 3,245. We've got Johnny here, total profit of 11,980. Nice work, Johnny. Yeah, Johnny said took some trades off Sean's confluences. Good dubs today on this challenge. Yeah, definitely, Johnny. Have a great weekend. We have Barack over here, his other account, total profit of 1,610. We've got Felix, total profit of 1,045 for the day, all wins. Nice. Yeah, Felix had took the higher liquidity after initial news fake out. David over here, nice recovery on your account, total profit of 39.15. So solid wins today. And we've got Craig over here, total profit of 750, all wins, and his second account, total profit of 850. So Craig's been on a pretty good winning streak. So nice work, Craig. I don't know if you're here right now. I know you're back at work, but Craig's been on a crazy winning streak. So he had 700 today. Yesterday, Craig had a 2,400 win. The day before that, Craig had another one, 1,300. So Craig's been locking in about 1 to 2 to 3,000 a day. And the thing is, Craig's working a normal job. So Craig earlier, he messaged us in the group and he mentioned that he's only going to be here for the first trade and he's got to get out. So every day he's locked in about 1,000. Nice work, Craig. You'll probably rewatch this later, so you'll see. But Craig's been super consistent. You can see every single day he posts his profits, about 1,000 a day. And he's only on the charts for a couple minutes. He's on the charts for maybe 5-10 minutes and on open. He takes the breakout and then he's done because he's got to go to work. So, all right, Craig, nice work right there. We got Rashida here, total profit of 699 for the day. Great work, Rashida. And then her second account, total profit of 196. Nice recovery on that second trade. Looks like it took a GJ trade this morning. Didn't play out so great, but your US30 covered it pretty nicely. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for today. If you guys have any more profits, feel free to send them in the group here. Once you guys send them, I'll add them to the Instagram and I'll put you on the video. But other than that, I think that's about it. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I will see you guys back here tomorrow for the next live, or sorry, not tomorrow, Monday for the next live session. So have a great weekend, guys, and I'll see you.